Welcome to Crossville Profiles, a venture about the people, pride, and progress of the Cumberland Plateau.
Welcome to Crossville Profiles. I'm Beth Davis with the Cumberland County Mayor's Office, and today on our show we have Daniel Black and Deanna Helgeson from the Cumberland County Playhouse, and we're going to talk today about 39 Steps. So tell us about the show. 39 Steps, tell us about that.
39 Steps. It's an old Alfred Hitchcock movie that's been stage adapted to a little bit of comedy, a little bit of drama, slapstick, and stuff like that. It's basically a story about a guy who is basically by himself. He goes to see a theater show, and a woman comes up to him and confronts him, and she seems to be in trouble. So she goes home with him, and then things go downhill from there. And it's a story of him trying to figure out what the 39 steps are. And we don't realize what they are until we get there. So, yeah,
Just
it's very interesting.
Right.
Mystery.
Yeah. So it's my understanding there are 4 actors who play 150 characters.
Right.
Right? Okay, so tell us about the cast and how they played 150 characters.
So the cast is made up of some CCP All-Stars, is what I call them.
I would think so.
Daniel Black is in the cast, Jason Ross,
Mm-hmm.
Britt Hancock, and Hannah Hayes.
Okay.
So the only actor that plays one character is Britt Hancock, and he plays the main character, Richard Hannah, through the entire show.
Okay.
Hannah plays the 3 female leads of the show.
Okay.
There are 3 big female parts. And then Daniel and Jason play the other however many characters.
70, 75 or something like that. Yeah.
And they're actually called Clown 1 and Clown 2 in the script. And it's very vaudevillian in that sense of like a old style musical. And they're changing characters quick and doing a lot of crazy running around.
Well, yeah, that leads me to, like, how do you tackle playing multiple characters like in one show? Like,
well, for me, it's always different for all of us, but for me, I always take from the best. If you like Monty Python, if you like Mel Brooks, actors like that, like I always look to John Cleese, Eric Idle, Mike Myers, even Robin Williams is in our show. You have to come see it to figure out who that is. But we wear a lot of hats and a lot of costumes, and we make all the scene changes and everything like that. So if I'm on stage and I've got all these lines to say, I'm usually wearing 1 or 2 hats. 2 or 3 characters come in at the same time, and I'm having to change character on stage.
Yeah.
So to be able to do that, you have to have some idols behind you and people to look up to that you've noticed on Saturday Night Live or, like I said, Monty Python or something like that. You just look all around, and I usually pull from that and put a little twist of my own on it. So
yeah, that just amazes me how your brain can switch like that so much. I mean, like, there's no way.
And we did a lot of work with the dialects, and because it is set overseas, so there's some British, some Scottish, some Welsh, some Cockney, all sorts of different accents that we worked with in dialects. And then we also worked on a lot of physicality and kind of each character having a tell or a talk or a certain pose they hit, and
so
we know they're that character.
Okay, yeah. So then
exactly.
you know that. Okay.
And we're also lucky. We had a fantastic costume designer for it. And she came in and she had an idea for this base costume that they wear the whole show. It's a simple white shirt, black pants, and then everything else is added on top.
Okay.
So it's hats and vests and coats and
you would almost have to. I mean,
absolutely. Maybe some wigs and dresses here and
maybe.
there.
So you mentioned that it was an Alfred Hitchcock film made for the stage. What were the challenges of bringing that to live on the stage?
But we're not on a movie set, so obviously we're going to have a lower budget than a movie, but we have enough, like she said, we have costumes, we have lights, we have the set, we even have our sound person doing sound effects for us. So to put all 4 of those together, it takes more than an actor and a script. So to be able to do something like that, we have to physically put ourselves into the motions. Like if we were on a train, you don't just sit still on a train, it moves. So you're bouncing on a train, and if you stick your head out the window, it's going to blow your hair around. That kind of stuff is what we had to physically put ourselves into to make it believable for this stage. So I think that's the most challenging part about this.
And we did, the director, Renee Pulliam, and then I was the assistant director. We are very big into something called found theater, where it's taking normal items you would find in a theater or in a prop shop or a scene shop and making them into sets. So it's a little more creative. We use 3 trunks during the show that are the bed, they're the benches, they are the train cars. We use some ladders that are where the pilots are, and then they also form a bridge. They're also in a repair, apartment repair design thing. So
we have a door that swings back and forth that opens one way and you swing it around the other way and it opens this way. So there's that also. So that's
but that takes some coordination.
It does. It really does. A lot of practice.
Well, I can't wait to see it, and I've got a lot more questions, but we're going to have to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Crossville Profiles.
Welcome to the Crossville Cumberland County Tourism Channel. If you would like to see your business, organization, or event on this channel, please call 931-484-4546.
Welcome back to Crossville Profiles. We've been speaking with Deanna and Daniel from the Cumberland County Playhouse, and we're talking about 39 Steps, which is an Alfred Hitchcock movie made for the stage. And you had mentioned earlier in the first segment that it was a comedy, and so it has a specific comedic style, and you said slapstick and British. I mean, how do you pull that all off in this show?
Our director described the show to us on the first day as Monty Python meets Saturday Night Live. So it's a specific style in the sense that we really modeled it after the movie and after a 1930s film.
Okay.
So our lighting is very black and white film noir. We also have a lot of sound effects in the show. Okay. Our sound designer worked very hard on those, and they sound like sound effects. Normally when you make a sound effect in a show, you want it to sound as realistic as possible, but our applause sounds like fake applause.
Canned applause.
Exactly. Yes. So a lot of those styles, but we also asked the actors to kind of act in a certain way that's different than we normally act these days.
Yes, and we make up our own sound effects sometimes because it's too quick for the sound person to hit all these sound effects at the same time. Like we have a car scene and we're opening doors and closing doors and things like that. So to be able to make that work, that kind of thing. That's what we have to do to make it work. So,
So that might answer my next question, which is, what was the most difficult part of the show to bring to life? Was it because you were having to switch back and forth, or make your own sound effects, or play like you were in 1930? Or what part was the most difficult?
That would be all of the above.
Yeah, that's
there was a lot of things, like we said in the first segment. There's a lot of things involved with the lights and the sound and the set and the costumes. Certain costumes we would put on and just change hats. So there was one scene where we're at the train station and I play a policeman, I play a salesman, and I also play a porter, which is the guy that says, all aboard, all aboard. So I'm doing this and turning around, changing hats, shouting out lines, while my other, Jason Ross, is also across from me doing the same thing, and he's a salesman. He's also a newspaper guy, and our newspaper boy gets on his knees and does all this stuff with the newspaper, and we're going back and forth and back and forth. To be able to make that work, we had to practice that scene over and over and over again. While, Britt is sitting there as the lead character watching all this and playing, it's like a tennis match. But the most challenging thing is to create those characters and then be able to put them all together and go back and forth. And it's like the one-liners that they do, like I said earlier on Monty Python and things like that. Because when you think British comedy, you think Monty Python. So that's exactly what we're trying to do here.
I don't understand. Like, my brain would never be able to because you have to be thinking about your next line and your next costume change,
Exactly.
like all at the same time.
Yes.
So I'm like, what? So Britt got off easy this time.
Yeah, sometimes.
So I know those are the most difficult, but what's your favorite moments in the show? The two
Oh
of you?
wow, there's a lot of moments for me. I would have to say in the second act, the story starts to come together, and there's a little bit of a love story that happens. And I actually get to play a character that everyone tells me that reminds me of Mrs. Doubtfire. So there's this old Scottish lady who runs a motel with her husband, Jason Ross, who bring them in, and they're trying to keep their secret. They find out about their secret, and they're like, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to tell anybody. But that's one of my favorite moments in the show, and it's also, I think, where the story, you find out that these two people are starting to make a connection together. Oh. And it also brings that aspect of the show together for everybody. So that's one of my favorite moments in the show.
Great.
I think my favorite moment, I have a couple, but my very favorite moment is I believe it's still, it is in Act 2, when Britt delivers this speech at a campaign function. So Britt's character is on the run, and he finds himself in a campaign meeting, and they think he's the special guest speaker, so he has to make up a speech on the spot. But the speech he gives, of course, starts out a little fumbling, and he's trying to figure out what he's going to talk about. But towards the end, it has some really beautiful sentiments about the world and about unity and coming together, and
a message we all need to hear right now.
Oh, it hits home. It definitely hits home.
It definitely hits home. I teared up the first time I heard it, and I think that's one of my favorite moments. That's one of the most honest moments in the show, I think, too.
Well, that's great. I think that we've given the audience just enough that they're going to want to go see this. I mean, it just seems like it would be hysterical. But, so what are the dates that the show is running?
This show runs through September 30th, and it is running currently. It's in our Adventure Theater, which is our smaller space, which honestly makes it more fun. There's a lot of good action in the aisles, and you feel really drawn into the story in there. But yeah, it runs through September 30th.
Okay, great. And how would our viewing audience get tickets? Tell them how they could get tickets.
You can call the box office. Number is 931-484-5000, or you can go to our website, which is ccbplayhouse.com.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for being with me today. Yeah. I'd also like to thank the staff and students of Gateway Productions, and thank you for watching Crossville Profiles.